Okay, this week in astrology, oh my gosh, we have such an amazing energy, so much excitement is happening. And the themes of this week are connecting to the new moon that's happening in the sign of Leo and themes that started in early 2024. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and start with this. July 22nd is the day I'm recording. We have Venus in a square to Mars and the South Node. And this is relating all the way back to when Mars and Venus were conjunct in the sign of Aquarius at 7 degrees on February 22nd, 2024. Oh, and before I forget, welcome to Kismet. I'm Jackie. I'm so glad you're here. I would love to connect with you if you want to follow me on Instagram or if you want to support me, please like or subscribe. Stay connected as I share about astrology and how it can support us to expand, to evolve, to understand our journeys, and connect with the magic that is in our lives every single day. And this is what gets me so excited about astrology, is that it literally connects us with just how amazing it is that what happened, for example, in February of 2024, February 22nd to be exact, is related to what's happening right now. And, with this square, we get this feeling that there's this old pattern, there's a habit, there's a tendency, there's something happening that is connecting us to our health. This could be related to like an addiction, some kind of people pleasing tendencies. This could be a toxic habit that we have. Um, and something is ready to be released and let go. And this means that there's been a growing, there's been an evolving, there's been tension building over the last year and a half since we have started this transit with Mars and Venus in Aquarius, which has been connecting us with owning ourselves, owning our masculine and feminine energies, and figuring out, how to bring that out into the world in a way that feels aligned. Mars connects us with our instincts. So there's something about our instinctual nature that is needing to be addressed right now. Squares ask us to, notice where is there tension, because this tension is asking you to make a decision, and you're feeling the tension because it's hard to make decisions, right? It's really difficult to make decisions based on what we feel is true for us for lots of reasons. Like we're afraid to hurt people's feelings, or we're afraid of what the outcome will be. So absolutely no shame for that, but this is awareness that yeah, we do face these things every single day, and there is an opportunity to work through it. So let's see. Yeah, this has something to do with your health. It has to do with healing, right? Because this connects with the nodes. And right now, the nodes are in Virgo and Pisces. And so they're asking us to realize, how are our habits, how are our tendencies keeping us from actually healing, from feeling well? Because that North Node in Pisces is all about getting in alignment to our health, our body, mind, and spirit. So you want to be checking in, with your intuition. What feels like a yes for you and what is a no? Because this is the time to become very clear about what those things are. Because we have the South Node in the sign of Leo, in the sign of Virgo, there's going to be a lot that has to do with your physical health. If you are having undiagnosable pain, especially in your stomach, in your chest, if there's anxieties that are coming up, this is strongly related to this body, mind, spirit alignment and awareness. Now, it's important to know that if you really want to work with these things, you have to work at the unconscious and the subconscious level, which means that you go deeper than the surface. That's what Pisces is about. It's about peering and looking into that inner world, into the unconscious, into the spaces that maybe we have fear of looking at. Um, so as I was saying, what's happening today, July 22nd, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, is related to this bigger cycle that relates to Venus's Venus and Mars's synodic cycle. And this started February 22nd, 2024. So you want to look back on your calendar, see what was happening in your life at this time, okay? Um, this is, you can also see where 7 degrees of Aquarius falls in your chart, because that is going to be where they made their own conjunction. The second time that they made a important aspect was August the 21st or 22nd of 2024. So look back, see what was happening in August. And what was happening in August may be very reminiscent of what is happening right now. Then lastly, we want to look at December the 12th, 2024, because there was real awareness coming up at this time of being pulled in two different directions, of feeling the tension in your life and trying to figure out what feels good for you and what doesn't. You know, it's important to remember that sometimes we try to convince ourselves that things will be okay because we want it to be okay. But if we were really to be honest with ourselves, then when we, convince ourselves, yeah, it'll be okay, I can do this thing, and then we do it, and then we actually still don't feel good. Every time we put ourselves in that situation, we are saying to our body, I can't trust how you feel. I can't trust your intuition. So this is a really important period to be aligning with what is your intuition saying. These are hard choices. That's what the squares indicate, is there's something coming up, there's a situation, and it isn't necessarily easy. It's not supposed to be, right? Because how we grow and evolve is not through ease, it's through a challenge. It's through facing our fears. It's through doing the things that do not come easily. So this really sets the stage for this new moon, which is the chart that I have here, that perfects on July the 24th. New moons are when we want to think about planting those seeds of intention. And this new moon is very connected with transformation, because we have the sun and the moon in an opposition to Pluto. And there's a very suspenseful energy here. It feels like friction in order to go through an evolution. It feels like a challenge. It feels um, like a letting go of expectations, possibly of yourself, of others. This Mars and Venus energy, it's about these masculine and feminine qualities. And our tendency with both of those is to put them off onto our partners. We look for other people to fill those roles for us, and then we end up dissatisfied because everybody's soul came to learn to embody their own masculine and feminine qualities. This isn't a gender thing. This is about knowing what the masculine is. The masculine is the yang, it's the initiating energy. The feminine is the receptive, is the capacity to receive, to respond. So we call them masculine and feminine because they're two different sides of a polarity. So if we end up looking for someone to, meet that other need for us, then we're going to face a challenge, because people didn't come here to meet needs for us. And this new moon is going to illuminate something that needs to be transformed within you. Now, most people are going to have a tendency during this new moon to project this outward. They're going to be looking at someone else to blame for however they're feeling inside. And that's because that's what Pluto does. It brings up our fears. And this is where we have a tendency to want to, make it somebody else's fault. Some people are going to face really big difficulties and conflicts. And there's a reason for this, that in order to evolve, we have to let go of control. And letting go of control often causes a lot of stress. So trust the journey here, and obviously get support if you need. The nodes of fate are also very connected with this, because we have the Venus in a square to the nodes, and Mars conjunct the south node. So something very clear that is needing to be severed out of your energy. This feels like that masculine tendency to try to force things to happen. And possibly you're trying to force things to happen through other people. And this is where the letting go of control is going to be really, really important. And Pluto transits always connect us to facing our deepest fears. So, throughout the last year and a half, this may have been bringing up a lot of your deepest fears, especially in regards to being alone. This is a big thing that every human faces, but this is very connected with this transit because it's aligned with Aquarius, and Aquarius energy is this capacity to be on our own individuated journey. The shadow of this is we want to fit in. We want people to like us. We want to be part of a group where people are cheering us on. But the strength of Aquarius is the capacity to be an individual in the midst of people who are maybe going another direction. Remember with this moon and with the next 6 months that the more that you cling to something, the more you cling to someone, the more you cling to life being a certain way, the more difficult this transit will be for you, and then the more difficult this period of time will be for you. And so if you have this idea in your head that things should be a certain way or need to be a certain way, you're going to experience a ton of difficulty because life isn't how we think it's supposed to be. Life is lifing. Life is, experiencing itself. And with Pluto being so connected with this moon, we want to see like how much can we trust the evolutionary process of life. Another interesting point with this new moon is that we have Mercury in retrograde, conjunct the sun and the moon. So something about this is very related to things we've been working through, possibly for quite a while, and very, very connected with this Mars energy because Mars made an opposition to Pluto 3 times over the last, I don't know, 8 or 9 months. It was November the 3rd, January the 3rd, and April the 26th. And this was all about this power struggle. And this ties into what I was saying about where if you are trying to control people or things or situations, this is where tension comes in. This is the Mars energy of, fighting for something. Fighting, if we have to fight for something, if we have to force our way into something, we are drawing and magnetizing towards us challenge and difficulty because that's what Mars does in its shadow. It is looking for a fight. And so if you're looking for a fight, you're drawing a fight to you. Now, there's a beautiful rebirth energy that is also connected with this new moon and with what is happening at a larger scale, especially into 2026. As you can see, from these very strong aspects with Uranus, and Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto, all in very positive flowing energy. So there is a lot of grace and a lot of ease that can come when we will do what is in alignment for ourselves. So align with your power, right? What does that mean? Well, it's not the easiest thing to do. Our tendency when it comes to power is force, brute force. This is that Mars energy. And I need you to understand that a warrior energy is calling a war to them. Okay. If you are a warrior, if you identify as a warrior, you are magnetizing towards you a war. A lot of people think that it's so amazing to be this powerful warrior archetype and energy. And while there's nothing wrong with it, every time you choose to embody that, you magnetize towards you difficulty and challenge and needing to fight. So you can just ask yourself, is that what you want to keep experiencing? Because if it is what you want to keep experiencing, then keep calling yourself a warrior. And you can do that all day long. But if you want to learn how to embody grace and ease and fulfillment and experience a life that is not filled with turmoil, then maybe you would want to consider looking at some of these deeper archetypes and these deeper unconscious beliefs. That's very connected with Mars and the South Node right now. And also Pisces North Node. This is a time to be looking at our unconscious and subconscious patterns and seeing, you know, how have we been identified with these things? How are we clinging on to them at a very deep level? I always say this, but it's really important to repeat it because our minds are slippery little fish. Um, your tendency is to seek safety. Your unconscious is a slippery little fish, and working with the unconscious takes working with grief because a lot of our unconscious patterns are connected to deep sadness. The warrior energy is connected with grief. Rage and grief are very connected. So, a lot of people are trying to just spiritually bypass by knowing the right answer, and it's just not that simple. We heal ourselves through releasing grief and releasing sadness, anger, and frustration from the body. None of these things are bad. These are not things we need to run away from, but they're things that we have trained ourselves to run away from. This is why I offer somatic release and reprogramming work to support clients to learn how to feel. So notice what needs to be severed in your life. This could be a relationship, this could be a pattern, this could be a way that you've been relating. Another thing that I think might be important, and there was a spider that just fell and it kind of surprised me. Okay, there's another pattern that you might want to be looking at, and this is gossip. If you are being caught in any kind of conversations where there is, complaining, talking about situations, this is really not going to serve you. The only reason you should be talking to somebody about a difficult situation is if you want to learn how to get a new perspective. And the best way to do that is to talk to somebody who is not involved. Circling and looping keeps us in circling and looping. So, another really important thing I want to talk about with Leo. Leo is the new moon that is connected with creativity, fun, pleasure. It's fiery, it's exciting, it's about expressing, um, it's about knowing what gives you pleasure. This is such an important energy. This is our solar essence. We all came here to learn how to have that pure sense of enjoyment. And when we're in that, our purpose flows, our pleasure flows, our satisfaction flows. And through that, we are flowing with life force energy. And this is what I have seen transform the most in my life is going from a person and a way of living that was suffocated, depressed, anxious, unhappy to overflowing, fulfilled, excited. This doesn't mean that I don't have difficulties, but it does mean that there is an overflow of me connecting to my purpose. And in a way, this sounds very idealistic, but we are all here to learn how to connect with things that give us energy instead of drain our energy. And obviously, this is not an easy thing to do. And this is, again, why I offer the somatic release and reprogramming. So there is no right or wrong when it comes to how to connect with this energy. Everyone has a different thing that they're here to express into the world. And it doesn't need to be art, okay? Expression has to do with everything. It has to do with like just what lights up your soul, what gives you excitement. Now, There's meaning in everything. And this is why you have to always remember what's meaningful to you might not be what's meaningful to other people, and that's okay. Also, you want to be thinking about getting in connection with this core essence of you. This is something we all struggle with. Um, a lot of people like to say, well, we need to tune into the inner child. Connect to your inner child. But I don't find the inner child to be a great concept, and I want to explain why. Um, the inner child is living from the unconscious. The inner child is not connected with um, the capacity to pursue what it is that they want. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're supposed to go through that phase. But as an adult, we're not in that phase anymore. What we want to awaken instead of awaken our inner child, because our inner child has a lot of trauma. We don't want to necessarily go back to that state. We have evolved through that state, and what we want to learn is how to access what children have that we lose when we get older. And this is the capacity to experiment, to try things without being thought of as stupid or silly, without fear of judgment. This is the one thing that children have that we need to return to. Well, we don't need to, but we can. We can return to this capacity to access the freedom to express ourselves, the freedom to play, the freedom to experiment. And the way we do this is by teaching our nervous system that it's safe, that we don't have to force things, that we don't have to do things a specific way. We're allowed to play. And this sounds easy, but like I said, we often have a lot of trauma. Some of us didn't even get childhoods. So, accessing and teaching our body how to play, how to have fun, how to enjoy life, how to experiment without the fear of rejection, judgment, um, is truly a life's journey and work. But it is so possible, okay? It is possible to train our nervous systems that it's safe. It's safe to play, it's safe to experiment. The key here is confidence. And this is the core of Leo's energies, that solar plexus. It's like, what gives you a sense of confidence? Confidence is the ability to know that it's okay to fail, to fall. It's okay to not do things perfectly. And confidence is really rooted in a essence of um, knowing your worthiness. And this is something that children have that we can return to in our nervous system. That is, when they make a mistake or they're playing a game and they mess up, they are not concerned about anyone thinking that they're stupid or that they're worthless. Usually people laugh or think it's funny, and it's not a humiliation thing. It's a cute thing. It's like, oh, you tried, like, great job for trying. You tried to walk, but you fell. And there's no fear of that when you're a child. So we want to return to the capacity to be okay teaching the nervous system it's safe for us to, to mess up, to fail. Okay.